Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast. I'm one third of your hosts, Eben Jones.
I am the voice of the villains, Brian Mercer. And hey, wait a minute. Why does it say this Nugget Russo McMahon crap for him? No, no,
I
no.
had
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure after the discussion we had earlier, we should just change his name to Simon Miller. Why? You'll find out why later tonight. All right. Hi Dan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I'm doing well.
That's
That's
good.
great.
Huh. Well, yeah, it's been an interesting kind of week in wrestling. We went from seeing a Johnny Ace tweener turn on Vince McMahon to getting dropped from the Janelle Grant lawsuits because he's apparently providing evidence to her team now. Did not necessarily see that coming, but clearly they had something on Johnny Ace, allegedly. Otherwise, he wouldn't be cooperating.
I mean,
Listen to Teddy Long. Johnny Ace is a traitor. He's a turncoat. It's a
Oh,
complete heel turn.
shut up, Teddy, before we make you go one-on-one with the Undertaker. But in all seriousness, we haven't really commented on the Janelle Grant lawsuits outside of the fact that allegedly Vince looks like a really big piece of shit. No pun
yeah,
intended.
If the allegations are true,
He deserves
it's
prison time.
it. Yes, and it's disgusting, really. But it is a refreshing thing in this day and age to see like Vince McMahon or Diddy, on trial for the crimes that they allegedly, we have to use that word, allegedly committed.
Yeah.
yeah. Sure, and
A
I found out
somber
recently.
moment rolls across the Standards of Geekness podcast. Oh yeah, let's all contemplate that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop saying anything around here.
And I found out recently. Apparently, that one of the main reasons, like Vince sold WWE to TKO, is mainly because of the fact that Stephanie and even Triple H kind of didn't agree to bring him back into the company after the whole lawsuit thing. Um, and that was one of the reasons why he kind of sold it, just purely out of spite and just hatred for what they did to him, kind of pushing him out of the company. So,
He
Yeah, I
pushed
mean,
him. No. He pushed himself out of the company. You do disgusting things for years and years, and then it comes to light. And that, like, okay, here, let me give a comparison here. Um, if you're no longer a Chris Benoit fan because of what Chris Benoit did at the end, like you are justified in that in having that thought process. If you are no longer a fan of the Cosby Show now,
R.
that's
Kelly.
again completely understandable. R. Kelly, completely understandable. Diddy, completely understandable. You know, any Harvey Weinstein movie.
Rolf Harris. Oh, God.
Kevin
The
Spacey,
results the same. Like,
Louis C.K. There's really too many of these.
yeah, I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah. It's definitely the 80s into the 90s where you've had a lot of these people do nasty shit.
Yeah, I think they've all been doing disgusting shit allegedly for years, but
Yeah.
I think it goes beyond just the 70s and 80s. We've got weirdo shit from Grizzly Smith.
It
You know,
always seems to be the 80s that seem the most wild. Like, there's always just random shit that happens in the 80s.
cocaine's a hell of a drug. That said, that wasn't the only big news this week. WWE had a small batch of releases, three names in particular. Two that were shocking, one that kind of made sense. First off, Valhalla, aka Sarah Logan. She hasn't really seen so much screen time lately. You
Wait,
know,
I swear she got released though, didn't she? Like beforehand, and then they brought her back.
yeah, and then they released her again this time. So, and then
There are plenty of people
Carlito.
who have been released and then brought back and then released again, Daniel. That's nothing new.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she ever got used though when she got brought back. I mean, maybe she didn't.
She was with the War Raiders.
Yeah.
Like that's all it was. um, yeah, and then Carlito. Raw's a little less cool now.
I mean, he took the PlayStation 5 of him.
I think this was really jarring last night. Like, did anyone else notice that the video games were no longer in the Judgment Day clubhouse?
The TV, the video games, the lighting.
Like, it's really jarring because there is no explanation for him being gone, and he's someone who was on air every week, and I understand why WWE would let him go, because it's not like he's been doing anything in ring. I understand that they didn't renew his contract at his previous level. They offered him a new reduced contract, which, considering that he wasn't really wrestling, I can understand that. If he chooses not to take that, that's his choice. But it is a situation where I kind of wish maybe they would have done that on Tuesday, and given one last episode to kind of give a reason for him to
write him off or something.
I mean, they should just do a TNA like they did back in the day with Ali. Just kill him off. Just kill him off. Say he got hit by a truck or something. I don't know. Like, there we go. Explained.
Yeah, I always thought that was super fucking cringe when TNA did that too.
Yeah.
There's a reason that.
Well, it's not like she can ever actually come back to TNA.
There's a reason we don't let you in the writing room, Dan.
Just treat it like it's. Or what you could do is just do like what TV shows do. Just recast. Just get someone cheaper.
Because that worked great for Diesel and Razor, right?
Oh man, let's not even get into that. Then the final name, surprising because he was just in the main event of the last pay-per-view, R-Truth.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of fan backlash. The crowd literally on Raw, the live crowd was hijacking the show by chanting "We want truth," which is great for R-Truth. It shows his connection with the audience. I've looked at this through kind of a couple lenses. The wrestling fan of me, who loves being entertained, I think it's a travesty that R-Truth was let go. But I also understand he was offered a lower contract at a lower rate, and he declined it, is what's being put out there. That said, I look at it also from a business lens, working in the business field myself. It's a return on investment, and when you put someone in the main event, you expect them to be able to move the needle a little bit, and R-Truth can move the needle to a degree, but they didn't really make this story. This story could have had some more legs to it, and I think they really could have done this a service. And if they were going to let him go, I wouldn't have had him on the last SmackDown, or the was it the last SmackDown he was on? Or was that no? The pay-per-view was. Sorry, my brain's fried from working all day.
No, it was SmackDown. You're right.
Yeah, so there was a pay-per-view, and then the following Friday they had him on SmackDown facing JC Mateo.
I mean, to be fair, they did like John. I think John Cena did explain it in like a promo, or maybe something on Twitter where he said like he spoke to The Rock and got him removed. Essentially,
no, he didn't. That's just a fan-written story that's been put out there.
I thought that was actually true.
That said, I think that
happened. I was like, oh.
I think if you really wanted to cement this heel turn, you should have had R-Truth's final match be at that pay-per-view. Cena should have beat him bloody.
Yeah.
And then just written him off that way. Get some heat on Cena because of it. Because right now, this whole tag team goofball shit, I want no part of it.
I will agree with you. The tag team match coming up in Money in the Bank is not anything that I think any of us are excited about. Um, okay, there's a. I love comedy acts. I love comedy wrestling. But there is uh, a certain ceiling on how far you can take that comedy act until you have to step it into a next gear. I mean, even Mick Foley, who had a long time being a bit of a comedy act as Mankind, um, had to like turn that corner, and and that's when he would bring out the Cactus Jack personality
Yeah.
because he understood like he had to even turn that Mankind personality, which could be hardcore in itself,
Yeah.
up a notch. Um, I I don't know all the particulars about when certain things were offered, when certain things were found out, but here's what I will say. Just before this uh, mid 50s-year-old wrestler who has been with the company for a
Since
very long
'99.
time, um, has been like 26 years. Has been with the company a very long time and stuff. Has never been a real big main event performer. I think pay-per-view main events he's had two.
Two or
Is that
three, yeah. Two or three.
you know
Oh yeah, because he's had
not
the
very many pay-per-view main events,
with the Rock.
but something that WWE, something that Triple H did for him, even as he's heading out the door. John Cena's matches, the matches John Cena is having in this
Very
last year,
limited.
very limited. Those are gold opportunities, okay? And R-Truth was given one of those. Doesn't matter that he lost. It was a main event in John Cena's final run. You don't just give that opportunity to anybody. You give that to somebody. And if you're letting that guy go out the door, that's going, hey, if you go somewhere else, you can still take this and run with it. Like your last match was against John Cena.
Hmm.
Like that's money. That's equity on R-Truth's name. That's a favor WWE is doing for him. And now you turn around and you have the fans hijacking Raw. You know, if R-Truth, if R-Truth was ever going to have a real shot at making it to the main event, right?
Hmm.
Like nobody thought for a second that he was gonna actually beat John Cena at main event. And this is where I said, I said it in the conversation with you guys when this very first happened. We have a little private chat. Um, I think there's a chance this could be a work.
Mm.
Evan, you and I talked about how great a R-Truth versus Cena like run could actually be. We both pitched this back and forth. The last time that we saw a main event, a benign main event on Saturday night's main event, it was between Jey Uso and Gunther, and then they turned around and they decided they were going to use that match at WrestleMania. So who's to say that this isn't all a play to get to a bigger R-Truth versus John Cena match down the road? Who's to say that this isn't a way to get the fans firmly behind R-Truth and get R-Truth that fan support that he needs to get to a world title, a main
Yeah,
event?
could definitely see that.
I mean, Triple H is playing some 4D chess.
He could be, or he could just be being stupid.
It's true too. Either is entirely possible.
The intriguing thing to me was the outpouring of support, not only from fans but fellow wrestlers. Just overall, everyone loves R-Truth. Interestingly,
R-Truth.
it was noted that Miz and Gunther and a few others had removed WWE from their social media, any related content. They've unfollowed WWE. So it would not shock me if some of these names, I don't think Gunther, but some of the other names out there that have done this, probably will have their contracts renewed, lowered, and ended probably by the end of the year.
Gunther's
He
one that
just signed
really
a new deal.
surprised.
The Gunther one's surprising, but we don't know.
The Miz, I don't necessarily think is in danger. Like, the Miz is in a position now where he brings equity back to WWE through other deals. Like, he's in various other shows that then bring, negotiating deals back to WWE for advertisement and such. He had the whole Miz and Maurice thing. The Miz is a guy who has been very successful in marketing himself. And I really don't think that, like, if he left WWE today, that he'd have that much trouble. I mean,
Yeah, no, I don't. I
personally,
think he'd be fine. It's just it's interesting.
I think it'd be hilarious if the Miz showed up in AEW, walked right up to MJF, and said, "So, I hear you steal my gimmick."
I think there's some R-Truth memes
Right
that
there,
I've where it's just like, is Tony Elite here? Dan Housing sent me, or I'm here for Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I heard they were some young bucks.
We need to get a segment between R-Truth and MJF.
Walks up to MJF, goes, "Hey, Miz,
Ron Killings. Ron Killings.
Oh yeah,
Ron Killings is back, y'all.
I mean, to be fair, maybe this is just me, but I would like, personally, for him to go to TNA and win the TNA title off Trick Williams.
I don't see the value in that, and I don't think he's going to go to TNA. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. TNA is becoming a farm system for WWE. TNA is treating themselves as a farm system for WWE. It would not shock me if Anthem sold TNA to WWE within the next 5 years. Would not shock me. That said, I think if R-Truth still records music, he's still doing a lot of things out there. He can take his time. It would not shock me if Tony Khan picked up the phone and said, "Hey, let's get something going," because that is something that is missing currently from AEW TV is comedy.
I mean, they got comedy.
Quality.
It's just not good comedy.
They have quality. They have a quality issue when it comes to comedy. And we're at an interesting point where it's kind of the vibe right now is reminding me a lot of that 2019 AEW birth period where they kind of hit the hot ground running. Even in spite of this terrible Death Rider story, AEW's programming, I've been watching the last couple weeks, they've been consistently doing better. The stories are making sense, and they're telling them well. WWE, I don't know about you guys, this last SmackDown was terrible. This last Raw was mediocre. The week before that, Raw was mediocre. The last SmackDown was terrible. Before that, it almost seems intentional to me. Like they're kind of diluting the product down a little bit. Is it because Daniel's eating a bowl of cereal I've been trying to ignore?
Oh, it's not cereal. It's a cheesecake.
That's somehow worse.
It's actually really nice. It's a strawberry cheesecake, which I got for free, which I was like, lovely.
I don't care about the cheesecake you pulled out of the garbage.
It's not.
This is Standards of Geekness time. This isn't cheesecake time.
You leave that cheesecake you pulled out of Andre Splinter's mom alone.
All right. So just so I got this straight. So you got up in the middle of the show, completely ignored the entire R-Truth conversation, and then came back with cheesecake and didn't bring any to share. Do fucking better. Do fucking
I don't even like cheesecake,
better.
but do better.
All right, I'm going to take this opportunity to do fucking better myself and tell each of you you can do fucking better by going to duelingguard.com/SOG. You can get 5% off all your orders. They have awesome gear, awesome deck boxes, sleeves, play mats, all sorts of stuff for all your gaming needs. Go there now. Use the code. You will support Standards of Geekness podcast, and you'll get yourself some cool stuff.
Yeah, and what I have did arrive. It's missing one of the items. That was. I don't know. You want me to spoil it live on the air? I can. I'm not going to reveal what it is just yet. But I was planning on. Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Do that later. That's later.
Yeah.
Daniel's on the pod. Okay, we can't let Daniel know about anything special that comes about before the general public. He's the mark.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the only people that can win it are people that have golden stars. So
That's true. Which is all of our viewers and all of our guests and everyone here on the pod, except Daniel.
in fact,
one
he's
of these
negative
days,
stars.
I really hope that you do earn a star, Daniel.
One day I will. Hopefully that day is soon.
All right. So the GOAT. For those of you that haven't necessarily seen a lot of the activity on our page, we have started the greatest of all time tournament featuring 64 of the greatest of all time wrestlers. We had 4 matchups we did this week. John Cena versus DDP. John Cena defeated DDP.
This is
in
an
the poll.
absolute travesty. I'm going to say it right now. First of all, DDP is the people's champion, and John Cena has done everything he can here. He beat Diamond Dallas Page, and he's ruining the GOAT tournament.
He's ruining wrestling.
He's ruining professional GOAT wrestling.
I mean, why haven't he not just given the title now of the greatest of all time? I mean, he already is already, so...
No.
I'm
We've
surprised
talked
that
about
you
this
can
before.
talk this well with his dick so far down your throat.
Bruno Sammartino defeated Randy Orton. This one kind of shocked me. I was surprised by how many people were selecting Bruno.
I was really afraid going into this tournament that we were going to have a recency bias. And I'll be honest, this may have been the hardest one for me personally. I kind of went back and forth.
It was for me as well. I voted for Orton.
See, I'm quite surprised because I feel like
I voted for Bruno.
Me kind of thing. And you two might see me as disrespectful saying this, but I think Bruno Sammartino is the most average wrestler I've ever seen.
In his time, he was bigger than Hogan was.
Yeah, I guess.
Think about it. Bruno carried that company on his back through the 60s and early 70s.
Yeah.
In a time when there weren't a lot of big name draws in wrestling. Like it was him and Andre and a few other guys. And this was back when
sorry.
Go ahead.
Whether you understand this or not, what fans want out of their professional wrestling has changed over time. Okay. The way that wrestling was, the style of matches in the 1970s is very different from the style of the 90s, and that's very different from the style of today. You will see callbacks at times to earlier matches, but understanding that the fans wanted something different at these different periods in time, and then saying and realizing that during this time, Bruno Sammartino was delivering what those fans wanted. he was the guy.
He was selling out
Everything that you're
hard.
saying about John Cena, that you think about John Cena, who is the guy in the PG era or the ruthless aggression era, you can make your argument for both. Bruno Sammartino was, back in the 70s. Hulk Hogan was in the 80s. Austin was in the Attitude Era.
Well, and you also have to think of Bruno was also one of the first people of color to be a world heavyweight champion during a time when
What is he not white?
he's Italian,
Oh, okay. Oh,
at
okay.
least from what I read.
He is Italian, and there is racism against Italians in professional wrestling specifically, but as Evan likes to say, there are levels to this shit, and the racism and issues that would have come up against Bruno Sammartino were not necessarily to the same degree that they would have been for, say, Junkyard Dog.
Mm-hmm. It was a much different climate, and you also have to think of this was also during the territory days where they didn't travel outside the Northeast. So you have to think about it: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, like traveling around that little circuit up there. There's a larger proportion of the population that relates to Bruno, that sees themselves in Bruno at a time when it really mattered. Like it still matters today, but at a time when it wasn't seen. And
Yeah, in the same way that the Von Erichs encapsulated Texas wrestling, Bruno Sammartino encapsulated that New England, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, that whole area.
Yeah, and just like Ric Flair down in the South, and Harley Race in the Midwest, and Vern Gagne, and all those guys. Like, there's wrestling history. Honestly, like I've read a lot of wrestling history books. Wrestling history it's very colorful. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of people who broke barriers. There's a lot of people who were scum. We've mentioned the fabulous Moolah. What she allegedly did. Like, that trickled down. That she had been champion for so long. I believe she won the championship in the early 50s. She didn't drop it until the 80s. And she did that by intentionally holding women's wrestling down. So, like, wrestling history has all these nuances that people don't realize, and it's fascinating. Shawn Michaels defeated Buddy Rogers. I felt like this was the easiest one for a lot of people. Buddy Rogers, early 1950s wrestler, the original Nature Boy. He was the champion before Bruno came along, basically. And, he carried the weight of that up there in the Northeast. But Shawn Michaels is just one of the greatest of all time. There's no debating that, in my opinion. Like,
I think the thing is with Nature Boy Buddy Rogers first, and this is, I know you could consider this recency bias, I guess, but the thing is Ric Flair did more with the Nature Boy name and taking that gimmick and taking it to the next level than Buddy Rogers. So automatically right there, you're like putting Flair ahead of Buddy Rogers, and then you go, okay, well, what happened when Ric Flair faced Shawn Michaels? Oh, Shawn retired him. That's right. So this one was the easiest pick for me, mostly because I don't know that Buddy Rogers is an incredible physical specimen. Like if you saw pictures of him back in his prime, he was like but Shawn Michaels is an athlete beyond just like the muscles. He's a full athlete. He's the total package. I think Shawn Michaels is going to be a hard one to beat in this tournament.
Yeah, it would. I would be genuinely shocked if he lost early. If he's gonna lose, it'll probably be in the top 8 or top 4, in my opinion. Just because he's so held in such high regard. These matchups are at random, so he could just draw bad, and the people could decide, hey, we like this guy more than Sean. But
Poor Diamond Dallas Page.
Sorry about your damn luck. You drew bad.
It's okay. He's gonna one day John Cena is gonna like tweak his neck doing a movie, and DDP is gonna be there like, no, I'm not gonna teach you DDP yoga. You beat me in the Standards Geekness Goat tournament. Screw you.
I don't think Diamond would do that to anybody. He's too nice.
Yeah, Page is too nice a guy. You're right.
Although I will say right now, like, I hope to God he does get like the Warrior Award. Like I feel like he deserves it. For
Diamond, I don't know if they still do the Warrior Award, but I would agree with that.
Left the organization when Vince left. Like, I don't recall them doing the Warrior Award at least in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, I don't really remember it either.
Chad Gaspar should have won it one year, and then like Titus O'Neil won it instead. And I'm just like, okay. That was the last time I paid attention, but I'm pretty sure.
But I would agree. I would agree with you. Diamond Dallas Page does deserve an award or recognition, or like even an honorary spot in the Hall of Fame for the rehabilitation he's done on various wrestlers.
Does he not have a Hall of Fame?
Oh no, he's in the Hall of Fame.
I was gonna say because like I don't know if he got into the Hall of Fame or not.
Yes.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Page is in the Hall of Fame, but that's what I'm saying. Like, this is something that goes outside of like conventional wrestling. Like normally, you're inducted into the Hall of Fame because you're a tag team, a stable, a singles career. I'm saying this is a post-career thing that he has done for the wrestling community, whether it's, Jake the Snake or Scott Hall or Lex Luger. Like, there's so many, and not just wrestlers, like a lot of other people.
Butterbean.
But Butterbean.
Didn't he help was Scott Hall, didn't he? With his
Yes.
Yeah.
He's helped a ton of wrestlers. And I just personally think he's maybe the biggest asset to the wrestling community as a whole there is. He's the one carrying. He's the one who cares about you after your career's over. Nobody else is doing that.
And I think, like, here's the thing, like, I think without him, especially for what he's given to the wrestling community, I think we could have seen a lot of these legends gone sooner. I think it would have been.
I can definitely understand that and see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, the final result: Andre the Giant defeated The Rock. This one kind of shocked me. I thought The Rock it would be a lot closer. It was 72% to 20 or 77% to 23%. I know The Rock's gotten a lot of bad PR lately. I didn't vote for him. I think Andre's impact to the business, what he meant, he carried the business literally for decades as the eighth wonder of the world, basically.
But Dan, you and I talked about this one.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And so, like, I know, like, you and I already, like, discussed it between us, but for the viewing public here, I think that this is a good encapsulation of the argument. Why don't you go ahead and give the argument for The Rock, and then I'll retort with the same argument that I gave you about Andre the Giant. Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason I feel like The Rock is a bigger, like, wrestler, and in terms of against Andre the Giant, it's more for what he's done, outside of wrestling. And yes, okay, I know he's wrestling versatility, and these matches have been incredible. But I think because of what he brought to the industry, and really making a name for himself not in Hollywood, I feel like personally his Hollywood career kind of matches Andre the Giant's wrestling outlook. Like they kind of have the same balance. Like I see it as Rock's Hollywood career is either matching or maybe an above Andre's wrestling career in terms of the way he's looked as the eighth wonder of the world. I think The Rock has that same. He's on that same level. Not, he's not. I'm not saying he's the eighth wonder of the world. The Rock is, but he's done so much for his own career. I think it's hard to kind of argue that maybe his career and his wrestling career kind of over propels Andre's just a little bit.
Okay, can I ask you? I didn't ask this before, but I'm going to ask it tonight. Your opinion, okay? And this is, I recognize that this is 100% an opinion question, okay? And I'd like you to give me a real answer, okay? I know that a lot of times you'll give the bullshit answer, and so if you say the Scorpion King, I know that you're lying here. What do you think The Rock's best movie is?
See, he's had a lot of good movies, had a lot of bad movies, but I think the one that kind of really did define his role and really did kind of boost his legacy in Hollywood, I would say it's
just what do you think? Like I'm saying personal Daniel Roberts favorite. What do you think is his best movie?
Yeah, and I was going to get to that. Fast and Furious 5. I think that is his best movie. It's where he performed the best. He acted the best. You could tell he was really into the character, really cared about the story.
What?
That's your favorite of all the movies The Rock has been in. The one that you personally enjoy the most is Fast and Furious 5.
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Now, there's easy money here in just pointing out that you want to weigh careers, movie careers, and you want to say Fast and the Furious 5 is going to sit right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put The Princess Bride on this side. And hey, would you look at that? Which one's the better movie? We're not talking about Hollywood careers, though. We're not talking about Hollywood careers. Roddy Piper has a Hollywood career.
Hulk Hogan has a Hollywood career.
Hulk Hogan has a Hollywood career. Jesse Ventura isn't in this tournament. But I'm pretty sure that I saw him in Predator.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was in the Predator.
Yeah, that's right. Like, we're talking about guys that are, like, acting alongside Schwarzenegger. Or, like, Stone Cold, you know, is in there with Sylvester Stallone in The Expendables. You know, you can... The number of wrestlers that show up in The Longest Yard is just ridiculous.
Yeah. And then there's
There's plenty of wrestlers that have had Hollywood careers that aren't in this tournament. Okay, we're not talking about
we're talking about
Hollywood
impact
careers.
to the business.
We're talking about the wrestling careers, impact to the business. Exactly. Now, here is the biggest argument that I have in the Andre the Giant versus The Rock, you know, thing. And keep in mind about when they're big picture, okay? And when you're talking about big picture The Rock, you're talking 8 years.
His wrestling career was only like 7 years.
After that, he goes on and becomes a part-timer at best. Okay? He showed back up and had about a 8-month run as a heel and then took off again. Then he came back to do the Cena shtick with a couple of
with-
pay-per-views, a couple of WrestleManias, and then he took off again. You know, you can't even depend on The Rock to show up to be the final boss in the wrestling career now. Okay? Andre, on the other hand, no, as far as I know, he always showed up for his appearances. Andre is the personification of larger than life. There are certain wrestlers that are those huge guys. Paul White, the Giant, is one of those guys. The Great Khali is one of those guys, where their sheer size is awe-inspiring. When you are in the arena and you see the size of another human being, you're just like, holy shit! Like, television doesn't do it justice. And when you talk about Paul White, you talk about the Great Khali, you talk about almost none of them actually physically compare to Andre the goddamn Giant. When it comes to the biggest mountain ever that there's been in professional wrestling, it's Andre the Giant. And you know how you know that? Because look at what it made out of Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, a man who was already over. He was already a superstar in WrestleMania 1, in WrestleMania 2. And then we get to WrestleMania 3, and he slams Andre because only a superstar the size of Andre could make Hogan bigger. Did The Rock make Hogan bigger, or did Hogan just like eclipse The Rock? And that's why I voted for Andre the Giant, folks.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for me, it was simple.
To do with what's going on in current wrestling. Seriously,
Yeah.
when you compare the wrestling careers side by side, Andre.
Length of career, impact of the career. Andre was super limited with his moveset. He's a big guy. He didn't need to do much. And like The Rock, he couldn't really wrestle that much either. Like, really shitty punch into spine buster, into rock
the world's
bottom.
Worst sharpshooter.
Yeah, worst. I think Bret Hart legit came out and said like he has the worst sharpshooter, I believe.
Oh, he does. He does. He I don't even know. I don't like it. You watch him put the sharpshooter on, like Austin or Triple H or Kurt Angle. It doesn't even look painful.
Hell, even I think
look, they're bending their knees. That's cool.
I think he actually said on his podcast that so.
You would have been better off just doing the Boston Crab. It would have been more believable there.
Because I remember Austin telling his podcast, like apparently, like he locks it in and it doesn't fucking hurt. So he's just faking it. He's not actually in pain. He said with Bret, it's so painful because he actually locks it in properly, and he could tell like.
There's levels to this shit, son. All right, for our next four up, I'll have the polls up probably sometime tomorrow. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Christian.
Ooh.
Be really interesting. I think the winner here seems obvious to me, but I think there might be a surprise here where it's closer than we think.
Okay, I will say this: they're out of all the matches in the tournament, this is one where I wish that we could actually see the promo battle between these two. Like modern Christian doing promos with the patriarchy against like Attitude Era Austin.
Be gold.
Give it to me. I mean, like I'm so for that.
I mean, does Stone Cold have a dead father? I mean, does that
probably? No, you want to get some real heat on it. I don't know if Christian would ever do it. But Stone Cold was really close to Owen.
That's true.
He broke your neck and now he's dead. Next up, Tully Blanchard versus Gorilla Monsoon. This is kind of a coin flip in my opinion. This could go either way. I'm gonna
I
look at the
think the thing
totality.
that makes this one, I think the thing that makes this one interesting is the fact that a lot of these matchups are like, you have your older wrestler versus your newer wrestler, and this is the matchup where we're seeing two of the guys from kind of the older side, from yesteryear going up against each other, and I think that it's really interesting to see what both us and what our audience thinks that matchup would turn out as. 'Cause I think that matchup actually happened.
Honestly-
It might have in the 70s.
Honestly, I might just flip a coin just to make my pick. Like,
I mean, I hope you put more intelligent thought into that being a representative of the podcast. But
Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, I will explain what I already know who I'm voting for. I've already made my decision who I'm voting for, and we can argue about that later. But
yeah.
like, at least I got a reason, Dan. I hope you do better than Tails.
Well, here's the thing: going into this, tournament, I had no clue who both guys were.
That's part of your problems. You have such recency bias, Dan. You don't go beyond the PG era or the ruthless aggression era or the now shit. Like literally, I challenge you to go take a month, watch nothing but to 1 week watch 70s wrestling, watch 80s wrestling, and watch 90s wrestling.
I mean, can you watch them?
Then watch your newer stuff.
You can.
I don't
find.
You can't sit here and tell me intelligently that I don't know who. You know who the fuck Gorilla Monsoon is. You knew him as an announcer if you watched any of the early 90s stuff. You know who Tully Blanchard is because he was one of the original Four Horsemen.
Well, I know him for what's it called? That worst pay-per-view of all time. I think it's what it's called. Like the one where
the electrocuting cage.
No, what was it? It's where like Jake Snake Roberts was like severely drunk and.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, my point being here is I'm dead serious. I challenge you to go back and watch.
I have to ask Daniel a quick question. Daniel?
Yes.
Do you know anything more about Tully Blanchard than the fact that he was a horseman?
I know he's got a daughter.
There you go. There's something.
I mean, that's about it. Like,
that was honestly what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if he knew that Tessa Blanchard is a second generation superstar. That was all I was trying to figure out.
I know that.
No. Dan, you passed, and you know what? I'm really proud of you right now in this moment. And that's why you're going to get a crisp high five. Come on.
Yay!
Get it up here.
And I get the gold star.
I don't want that gold star. That should be mine.
Well, he knows who Gorilla Monsoon is.
Only people who know who Gorilla Monsoon is get gold stars.
I mean, I know who Aunt Anderson is. Does that count?
They were literally in a tag team together in the WWF. The Brain Busters. Just Google it. For fuck's sake, please Google it.
Next.
Don't mind me just having an aneurysm. Bray Wyatt versus Harley Race.
Oh, this could be tricky.
This is a hard one. This is actually a hard one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it, but I think it's the truth. And the way
No.
Make it known on the poll.
Not on the pod. We don't want to influence anybody. For those of you who aren't or might not be as familiar with Harley Race, trust me, you're familiar with so many people that he trained,
Without
including
him,
the
don't
current
answer,
head of the WWE, Triple H.
yeah. Harley Race and Killer Kowalski trained him.
Harley Race's matches with Ric Flair
Dusty.
arguably made Ric Flair.
1983, a Flair for the Gold, man. One of the best storylines. The original storyline where someone put out on a bounty on somebody. That's where it came from.
And I would personally say, look, for me, Bray Wyatt doesn't get enough credit for his short period in wrestling.
Absolutely amazing talent.
Yeah,
Make your vote known on the poll.
I wouldn't say like wrestling wise, he's very average, but his mic skills and the way he creates his stories and his characters, phenomenal.
Absolutely a beautiful mind that we lost too soon, but the randomness of the bracket gives us a really tough challenge.
Yeah, I hope.
I will say that when it comes to casting the vote on this one, judge Bray Wyatt not on how he was booked, but how he performed.
Yes. And then the final match, we have AJ Styles versus Bruiser Brody.
I mean, that's gonna be a fucking bloodbath that actually happened. Jesus fucking Christ!
That actually fucking happened.
Can you imagine? Like, okay, every time I think about this, because you shared with us, what the matchups were going to be earlier today, and I keep having this image of AJ. He's on the apron. He goes for a phenomenal forearm, and just gets beheaded by a clothesline.
And that's exactly what would probably happen, and it would be beautiful.
I wonder, would that be the biggest concussion ever?
Probably Stan Hansen's clotheslines.
The thing is, AJ has had matches against big guys before. He's beaten big guys. He's lost to big guys. But he's one of those guys that really knows how to use his size to make a big guy look good, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like,
surely, AJ would try to one from Brody, and then he would just go into the crowd with his fucking chain and just start whipping it around.
It's interesting to me that you know Bruiser Brody, but you don't know Tully Blanchard or Gorilla Monsoon.
The only reason I know who Bruiser Brody is, but it's because of Dark Side of the Ring.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's
it just
fair.
tells me that you are truly a mark, and you need to do more research.
Bruiser Brody is one of the legendary, legit tough guys of professional wrestling. I actually think it would be fun to do an episode just on like legendary tough guys and some of their stories.
I think it'd be great. Honestly, it'd be really great to get some of those guys that are still around to come on and talk about them.
Maybe
we can get Tony Atlas to come on if Daniel shaves his feet and paints his nails.
And I'll say something controversial right now. I'm going to say it right now here on the podcast. Jose Gonzalez did kill Bruiser Brody.
Allegedly. You have to add the word allegedly.
Yeah, you have to. For legal reasons.
Fine. Allegedly.
For those of you out there, Daniel does not have an actual opinion representing the podcast.
Dan, I think it's about time you start pulling your weight around here. We want to get some good, tough guys on here to tell their stories. So could you do me a favor? Just head over to Japan, get me Haku. Okay? You bring Haku to the pod, and we'll at least go, have somebody go with you and videotape you asking him to be on the pod. At the very least. We'll put that on the pod.
Maybe you can get the What Culture guys to come help you.
Are you trying to get me killed? Are you trying to get me a death sentence? Because You try and ask.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't even know who Haku is.
I do. I know who Haku
Okay,
is.
I'll tell you what. Maybe that's too big an ask. You don't need to get Haku. Can you get me Ming?
Really? You're just
What about the Islanders?
at this point. Just dig a grave for me at this point and put me in it. At this point, I'm already dead. Because the moment I step face to face and tell him, I am not living. I am literally. I've always seen God. I'll be waiting up the fucking pearly gates.
All you got to do is wave some of that British money in front of them. I'm sure that'll.
Actually, to be fair, Haku does love money, so maybe
give him
it might
some pounds or whatever.
Well,
Some
he
pence.
loves either one of two things: people crying or money. So
Maybe he'll do both.
Doesn't
Take your money.
Daniel doesn't even get that I'm making fun of him from last week. All right, moving right along.
All right. Before we move into the Raw recap, as a reminder, guys, go to the duelingguard.com/SOG. Enter the code SOG at checkout. You'll get 5% off all your orders. I'm going to be posting some videos this week on some new reviews from some new product that I did get from them.
yeah.
All right, Monday Night Raw. So we're not going to go through the whole show. We detest going through the whole show here. There are moments I did want to highlight myself. First and foremost, Stephanie Becker came off looking like $1 million in her triple threat qualifying match. I think there's a huge push for her in the future.
That promo was all in Spanish. It was great. Like I was really afraid they were like when she got to the main roster they were going to do something to like, Americanize it, and instead they went the complete other way.
I have to ask: did you guys do the Booker T? Yeah. With the
What happens between me and my TV in my personal time is none of your business, Daniel. Make him say,
I mean, I went what now on the podcast. I did it.
Well, you
thank you, Booker T, for giving us the tools on how to do it at home.
Tell me he did not just say that.
Damn.
The Heyman AJ segment backstage was great. It felt like menacing Heyman. I really liked it. They're leaning into the whole Oswald Cobblepot type stuff with Heyman with this, where he's a leech that jumps from power group to power group to power group. And AJ kind of pointed that out.
I wonder, does that make Seth Rollins the Joker?
Yes, that's the online meme. Is Seth's the Joker, Heyman's Penguin, Breaker is Bane, and Bronson Reed is Killer Croc.
Ah, so we need a Harley Quinn. I mean, Becky Lynch.
Well,
Alexa
Name
Bliss.
Watch, it's like week 82 of the this stable being around, and still no name.
No name.
I thought it's called the Trifecta something or Terror. Or something.
God, I hope that's not the name.
There's just bad marketing around this overall, and like we talked about this a little bit earlier today, Brian. There's a lot of stables in WWE right now, from NXT, SmackDown, Evolve, on Raw. They're all terribly booked, which is funny because that's like Hunter's trademark is booking really strong factions. The problem here is you have too many.
They just announced it, or what the faction's called. It's called the High Rise, RYCE. Ooh.
Wow, I didn't think that could be dumber than the Trifecta of Terror, but fuck me riding sideways.
The High Rise, and you fucked up spelling Rise. I mean, who spells Rise?
They can't probably get the copyright to the High Rise because it's probably some shitty 70s Hollywood movie.
True.
WWE will do anything to avoid copyright infringement.
At that point, just give it to
I'm blown away at how terrible this fucking name is. Like, holy shit.
The High Wise. What the fuck?
Where are they bringing in Matt Riddle now? Maybe a little RVD action.
I mean, to be fair, everyone's saying it should be called Division, which it's what it should be called.
Dan, you're full of shit. Wesley, Tyson DuPont, and Tyreek Igua are the High Rise. That's on NXT.
No, I literally got it here. Hold on.
I'm literally looking at it right now. You're full of shit.
That's still a terrible name. It doesn't matter. That's still a terrible name.
Here we go. I sent it in the chat.
You can put it in the chat all you want. I'm literally looking at it right now.
All right. Regardless, I'm going to say that there's currently no name for this super group, as it were, and that's pretty aggravating to me. I mean, by this point, you'd think that a freaking T-shirt, like you'd think they'd be trying to merchandise the group.
Yeah, but they're literally called the Trifecta according to their social media posts. There's no merch. There's like no build behind this. Like, it's just lazy.
I feel like the name though is kind of like a stopgap, like, surely.
Well, do fucking better long booking then, man. Like, do fucking better.
See, I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm actually kind of interested in this this story. You know,
I'm interested in the story. They've got me a little bit engaged there, but
I like the way that you've got, you know,
Suicide Squad.
I like the way that you've, you know, developed the main event now into something that I give more of a shit about. I mean, like, I don't see Jey Uso being champion much longer, but I at least feel like now when he loses the belt that I'll have sympathy for him losing the belt.
I'm pretty sure he's going to lose it at SummerSlam to a cash-in, regardless who wins the Money in the Bank. Maybe it's even that night at Money in the Bank. He's losing it to someone.
I honestly, I have this funny feeling he's going to lose to Logan Paul.
But Logan's not in the Money in the Bank match.
No, but like I don't think he'll be cashed in on. I think he'll keep it for a while if he wins the title off Jey Uso.
But nobody wants to watch Logan Paul versus Jey. People don't want Logan Paul in the main event. That's part of the problem that WWE has, is they're tone deaf when it comes to Logan Paul. Yes, he draws numbers in, but people don't like Logan Paul because he's a fucking pretentious dick.
Yeah, but then that's kind of the whole point. Like, that's his whole.
But it's not good heat though. Is my point, Dan. It's kind of go away heat. Like, people don't like him. They don't like his brother. They don't like how obnoxious and entitled they are. Like, they act like they're these Hollywood elite guys, but they're from fucking Ohio.
That's true.
If you're comparing like someone who's been, you know, just your average guy who's been getting in the ring for a couple of months to Logan Paul and where he was at after a couple of months, Logan Paul was doing great. I mean, that's not real surprising when you're being trained by some of the best on the planet.
Yeah, like, if they've been trained by like Shawn Michaels,
but
isn't it?
The truth is, Logan Paul, as far as a talent, has really stagnated. And frankly, his promo skills have fallen off.
That's because Heyman's right.
Logan Paul doesn't understand how to engage a crowd. He knows how to engage an individual. When Logan Paul is doing his podcast, he's really good about engaging the individuals, whoever he's on the podcast with, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Getting reactions out of those individuals. However, it's a different thing when you're in that ring and you got a mic in hand and you're not trying to connect with one person. You're trying to connect with, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000, however many it is. And
I'm telling you that he's missing the boat. He does not have it.
You see, that's where I have to disagree with you, Brian. And the reason why I would say that is if you, and this sounds really stupid going off topic here, but if you watch his time doing his like celebrity YouTube boxing time with KSI, like when he was doing the press conference, he was very good at engaging with the audience, and trying.
There's a difference between doing that in a room with reporters versus engaging an audience to try to generate heat to bounce to build a story. It's a world of
difference. Like he did kind of do that with his like boxing fights. He did kind of build a story of how like he's.
But there was actual animosity there. Like you have to remember, wrestling's still a work. They still have to tell these compelling stories. I'm not going to deny Logan is an in-ring talent. He is talented. He does have some tools there. But as a talent, he has stagnated. He has plateaued.
Yeah.
His promo skills, you notice when he's cutting a promo, he walks around the ring, but he's still looking at the person he's cutting the promo on. He's not engaging the audience. He's not telling the story in a way that's getting me interested.
I mean, remember.
Let me give you another one.
Hold on, wait.
No, I'm going to give you another one. You want to know what irritates the heck out of me as a talent watching Logan Paul in a WWE ring, which I'm sure you don't annoy his carrying cross to? Hey, I don't give a damn if you're colorblind or not. You still know where the hard cam is. It's the same place every week.
Mm-hmm.
To the right of the entranceway. So don't sit here and tell me that like you're good, that he has promo skills when he can't even turn and face the hard cam. Oh, sorry. The hard cam is the camera that is stationary, that faces the ring. It's your standardized view. It's the one you're used to looking at. Okay? That's the most important camera in the show. When you go out and you deliver a promo, you are supposed to turn and face that camera. And all those people who you're turning your back to, you don't care. Because the truth is you're trying to engage. And you're not just, in the case of WWE, you're not just trying to engage the audience, in front of you. You're trying to also engage the audience at home. You can try and, so like Logan Paul at best is trying to engage 10,000 people walking around the ring when he's on Raw. How many is he missing engaging with at home? Oh, I don't know. 1 million, 2 million. But those numbers don't matter, to get
right? 1 million. Oh, sorry, Chicken.
I still think he should go down to NXT though, and we develop, and kind of improve on his promos and improve on his in-ring ability.
I don't think his in-ring ability is the problem here. It's the character and the promos and the other factors.
He's not.
But let's get back on topic.
Monday Night Raw. Play himself.
Monday Night Raw with all these factions and across WWE, there's just a lot of the Lyra Becky promo segment. So you pointed this out to me earlier, Brian. I was already thinking it. The way Lyra was behaving was almost heelish. Like, she didn't engage the fans when she came out. She was just pissed off and wanted to ram at Becky. And I get they're trying to sell angry Lyra Smash. But, they're making Becky kind of look goofy in this sense. And
I think they're making Becky look like a baby almost. Like, by the end of that promo, Becky's sitting there just like, bitch, you're just harassing me. You're just whining and complaining. Get off your high horse. That's how it all came across, was very whiny on the part of Lyra Valkyria. And, Lyra's I get that you're pissed off coming out for this interview, but that doesn't mean that you have to just outright ignore every fan reaching out their hand towards you. Like you can march with purpose down to the ring and still give a couple kids a high five along the way.
You're the
That
baby face.
that little thing, it would have made a huge difference going into that promo for me. And
Fuck them kids.
and then, honestly, I think Lyra as a talent needs to work on a little bit of her vocal control.
Mm-hmm.
She gets into this high range with her voice, and it comes across as shrill and whiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little catty whiny. And I don't like there's a lot of connotations also that like you generally we don't want to use that descriptions when it comes to a young woman, but like when you're portraying a character on television in front of millions, it is what it is. Like, it was just honestly the segment compared to the other previous weeks, this kind of fell a little flat for me.
Well, I think it's okay if that was the long-term goal. And Becky Lynch is, the kind of performer that's been around long enough that she could be playing these beats long in advance. And if the whole idea is she's going to get in Lyra's head, it's all to destroy Lyra mentally, on this really deep level. She's lost, I've taken everything from you. I took your championship from you. I took your credibility from you. You had to raise my hand. I took your love for this sport. I took your love for the fans. I've taken everything from you. Go home, never come back. If that was what Becky Lynch came back with, after potentially winning the championship at Money in the Bank, I'd be down for that. Like, that gives Lyra a good reason to take a couple months off, come back for a badass all at SummerSlam. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think that would. I honestly think. I think send her back down to NXT, have her rework a little bit of her character work. Like, I don't necessarily want to like just anytime someone has an issue, immediately send them back to NXT. She's a talent who needs it. Her in-ring work is not that bad. She does fine in the in-ring. I'm not a big fan of her character. But, like, I think she needs to kind of add some depth to her character, work on vocal range control, and work on promos.
I don't think you need to send her back to NXT to do that. I think that she could just work on. I think she could just be taken off of TV with the right story for a period of time. Work on those things off screen with someone like Paul Heyman would be a great one, and then come back in a couple months.
I'm sorry, that's funny. That's hilarious.
I did enjoy the Rhea and Stephanie backstage segment after the match. I thought that was really good.
Ooh. Everything with Stephanie Bakura in this episode was good. The Rhea segment was good because it was the first time in a very long time that I felt like there was actually someone who was a threat to Rhea.
Well, and a lot of people have been complaining about Rhea being involved in the Money in the Bank match because she seems to always be in the title picture. Rhea's became a superstar. She's there. She's arrived. Having her involved in these matches is fine. She can win one occasionally. But she's there also to make a lot of these young women and up-and-coming women look good, too, to give them the rub. She's at a point where she's earned the rub. She's a megastar.
Would you say, like, she's like the new China?
Yeah.
Like, she has that kind of, like, appeal.
I think she has a bigger appeal than China did. I think she's more on the level of like Trish Stratus and Lita.
to be honest. Like during their time, they were, huge stars. Um, so if you're going to compare it to other women, I think that they might be better um, comparisons. But really, I think she's even surpassed them in terms of star power and in terms of ability.
I honestly think Rhea's probably already one of the top 5 women of all time. I think if you could get her into a WrestleMania main event, she'd pass Becky.
Hmm.
She's on par with Becky in terms of star power, in my opinion. She just doesn't get the Hollywood roles that Becky is quite yet.
Oh.
I think part of it too with Rhea, that whole that whole storyline with Dom, it allowed us to all see. Um, it was really good storytelling, and it was a really good way to expose a side of a side of Rhea's personality that you're not necessarily expecting to see out of that dominant, you know, character. The mommy era is maybe my favorite era.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it just goes to show that her character, the way she's learned a lot, and she uses everything she's learned, and it's very evident. And yeah, she's been dominant for a while, but she's at the stage now where her and Bianca are kind of like the new Charlotte and Becky in a way.
Dan, let me
I,
ask you this: do you believe? Okay, would it be believable to you to see Rhea Ripley beat Finn Balor?
Yes.
Dan, Mark,
uh, yes,
Simon.
Unfortunately, I can see it, which sucks to say. Because I
Okay,
know how
that shouldn't suck to say, because here's the thing: Finn Balor is like he's one of those guys on the roster who's always in title contention. At any point, you can put Finn Balor in a match for the world title or the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, the Universal, WWE, whatever. Any of them. Like he's a utility guy, and if you're saying that you believe Rhea Ripley can beat Finn Balor, that means that Rhea's in that position too. And personally, I am all for the day that we see Mommy as world champion.
Here's the thing: I want it to happen, but knowing the IWC and know how some guys can be incels on the internet, I don't know if it's going to happen.
I mean, it is what it is. They can stay in their mom's basements, continuing to be virgins.
They're just
I
going to
can
be like,
believe that
a
it
woman
wouldn't.
can't. A woman
No, I
can't be
can
a
believe
virgin.
it wouldn't have happened. I can believe it wouldn't have happened when Vince was running the company. But Triple H's outlook on women's wrestling and women in professional wrestling is very, very different. It's much more progressive. And I don't think that he'd want to put just any woman up against, a man
Cody
in a
Rhodes.
world title match. But in given the right circumstances and the right build, I could absolutely see it, and I would be all for it.
Yeah. So this tag match, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Storyline wise, the way they're cooking it, it makes sense. It was a little random that Jey Uso was here. I guess it's because Punk was in the main event in the triple threat for the qualifier. Um, I don't know. Just seems like a hodgepodge mess of tag team matches lately, without a real clear payoff. And it's kind of awkward because Gunther's like waiting in the wings for his title rematch on the 9th in Phoenix, which they
Teddy
keep
Long is doing all the
highlighting
booking.
as a big deal. And I'm like, it's just on a fucking Monday Night Raw. We did say we wanted the world title defended more on Raw, so yeah, but it's just been kind of awkwardly booked.
Playa, Teddy Long is doing the booking on Raw.
You're going one-on-one with the Gunther Taker.
All he needs is Damian Priest over there. He's got everything he wants.
You're going one-on-one with bisexual Taker. In the month of Pride, he's unstoppable. Very good. All right, and then finally, El Grande Americano defeated CM Punk and AJ Styles in a triple threat qualifier match for the Money in the Bank.
This match really bothered me. I just want to get this out of
This
the
was
way.
one of the worst main events that I've seen in a while.
Like, these are three guys who are all very, very talented, and like I understand storyline wise why Seth and Braun and everybody came out, but the telegraphing of the finish was it was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. Everything that I actually liked about the number one contender tag team match with Judgment Day and the War Raiders, which I actually enjoyed that match. I really enjoyed the finish. I thought the pulling of the beard, to slam his head into the ring post was a cool finish.
Yeah, there was a lot of mixed reactions about that one.
No, I understand there being mixed reactions. I'm just saying that spot. I really like that spot.
I think it's just because we've seen that match so many times.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is for that to be a match that we've seen several times and had the potential to be very telegraphed. I personally was expecting the Raiders to walk away with W for the simple fact that it's a heel tag team on the other side with the New Day. And instead, they went with the Judgment Day getting the win. And kudos. Like, you circumvented my expectation. I didn't expect that to happen. On the other side, the exact opposite happened in the main event, where if you were watching it about a third of the way through, it was clear as day. CM Punk is being taken out. El Grande Americano is going over.
Yep, and I don't think anybody asked for El Grande Americano to be the one to be in the match. And I'm just going to say it before we get into it. I think this is one of the weakest men's Money in the Bank fields that I've ever seen. Ever.
I think that's done on purpose. I think that has been done. I think it's been done especially on purpose to give the appearance going into the match that there is nothing that can stop Seth Rollins. So with that, I think it's about time to get into some predictions.
Yeah, so there wasn't much to write home about with SmackDown, so I'm willing to skip it. Which is sad. Yeah, so predictions. I guess, Brian, you go first. Let's start with Lyra versus Becky.
Lyra versus Becky? Okay. This is an easy call for me. Becky Lynch going over in spades. Lyra Valkyria needs to lose the title so that she can regain it and get some credibility on her name. I think that we've all been talking about this for a couple of weeks. We've seen Becky be willing to do the favors. If Lyra goes over on Becky again, I think it just becomes a step too far, and you begin to wonder if Becky even has credibility anymore. Whereas when Becky wins, it will lead to an intriguing story. Becky Lynch with the W.
Yep. Okay, Daniel.
Same again. I have Becky Lynch. Like Brian said, it's the more interesting story. And I'll be honest, I'm just not feeling Lyra's title reign, it's just she's not really done much of it, but which is not her fault, I know, but yeah, I think she's dropped at this point, unfortunately.
That's interesting, Daniel. That's interesting. Real quick, I'm curious. Over on whatculture.com over in the UK, what did Simon Miller pick? Who did Simon Miller pick to go over in this match?
I don't know.
No, that's right. It was Becky Lynch, just like you. I'm sure there won't be a theme there. Evan, what about you? Who do you think is going over?
I have Becky Lynch also winning for the same reasons you mentioned, Brian. I've been calling Lyra's title reign kind of a failure for a while. The whole run against Dakota Kai, them not providing her any real challenges, having her in how they handled WrestleMania with her.
I mean,
now
we have
it's
to
time to
ask
get
now,
the title
like,
over, reestablish the credibility with Becky, build
yeah.
up another babyface to take it off of her.
I think we need to ask now the question, like, would have Dakota winning done more for the belt than Lyra has right now?
Not really.
I don't think the booking really changes no matter which one of them wins. I think it's
You
just
had a
gonna be
babyface versus babyface finals there. The problem is the expectations didn't match what was delivered and what was booked.
Next, the tag match, I think.
Yep, we've got Cody and Jay versus John and Logan Paul Cody and Jay Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. Daniel,
really
you start.
Really interesting one here.
I've gone with Cody and Jay Uso simply due to the fact that Cody's just come back. They're clearly building that match for SummerSlam between Cena and Cody. And also, I feel like the more interesting story will be for Logan to go back after Jay's title, and maybe they face each other again at SummerSlam. Maybe Logan wins it there. I don't know, or maybe Jay retains and he gets cashed in on. I don't know, but I think clearly they're setting up both of these matches for SummerSlam, so I think I could see it.
Okay, Brian?
This is one that I actually find difficult to call. I think that the more interesting creative decision is to have John Cena and Logan Paul win. I don't think that Cody just coming back should instantly be challenging Cena. That doesn't. I think if you really want Cody to be the guy, then it needs to be a slow burn. That being said, there are very few opportunities to book John Cena to lose a match, make the other side look good, and not have it interfere with Cena's title reign. So for that reason, because it's the rare opportunity for the babyface to get the win over Cena, to let Logan Paul eat the pin, to let Cody get the win, or to let Jay get the win. It really doesn't matter which the babyface is, but I'm going to put this down for my bonus point. Logan Paul eats the pin.
Ooh.
That's what I was going to do for mine, too. I also have Cody and Jey Uso going over. I do agree with you, just because Cody returns, it doesn't make sense to necessarily have him immediately get a win. From my perspective, I think a slow burn makes the most sense. I think this is the start of what's leading to Saturday Night Main Event in December. I think we'll get Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam. I think someone's going to screw Cody there, and it's going to lead to a series of, like, not matches, but like just a building up throughout the summer and fall to that final match in Boston. Or maybe it's career versus championships. Cody puts something on the line because Cena's already risking his career, and to save the WWE, Cody's got to, or save the dream and the story. Cody's got to risk it all. That'd be more compelling. Maybe we see The Rock return, to cost him the match at SummerSlam. That would make sense.
That would be quite fun. Actually, I had this idea in my head that he loses his brotherhood in the African community, but
Hey, you leave Cody Raheem Rhodes alone. He makes him say,
He is welcome at the
if he loses, he's not allowed to go to any more cookouts.
No, Cody is welcome at the picnic.
So my bonus point here, I'm gonna go one step further, Brian. Jey Uso will pin Logan Paul.
Okay.
I think that'd be quite a good thing. Let's give our bonus points. Does anyone want to say?
All right. I haven't seen any other matches announced. So I'm assuming it's just the two women's and men's Money in the Bank.
I'm guessing that on Friday on SmackDown, we're either going to get a tag team title match announced for Money in the Bank, or possibly a United States title match announced for Money in the Bank. I lean away from the United States title just because a lot of those players are in the Money in the Bank match.
Mm-hmm. I think the tag team title match makes the most sense. That said, it would be really astounding for them to have the SmackDown tag team be left off again. Considering that TLC match we saw recently, considering everything that's going on there, it wouldn't shock me if we see the Wyatt Six announced versus, or maybe it's a 4-team, a fatal 4-way.
Oh, that could be an 8-man tag, like 2 tag teams versus the Wyatt Six.
That, or maybe you do, you have 2 people from the Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits versus DIY versus, who's the other tag team they're feuding with? American Made?
Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah. American Made. I'm still thinking of that band from WCW with Buff Bagwell.
That's Chad Gable's.
In the event that we hear something on Friday about a new match, then
we'll make an amendment announcement.
We'll make an amendment. We'll post an amendment onto the Facebook page with an additional prediction.
Yeah. So the men's participants are Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andre El Idolo, and El Grande Americano.
All right, wait, hold on. Before we do this is what I've been waiting for this all night. Okay, I told you guys I had an interesting pitch for you. Okay, I know that everybody across the world, from Evan to Simon up there, can't believe you just ripped off all of the What Culture predictions, Daniel.
I did not rip off What Culture.
You did. Go now. Anyone who wants can go to whatculture.com and they will find Simon Miller's predictions, and every single one of them you ripped off. I know your list. I agree that Seth Rollins might be the best prediction. Might be the best choice here. But I do have an interesting idea that the W could go to El Grande Americano. And the reason I say that is twofold. First, Seth Rollins has done so much to weigh the odds in his favor. And you start thinking about the names that aren't on this show. Sami Zayn isn't in a match. CM Punk isn't in a match. There are big name superstars who could come and tilt the odds back in the other favor without a disqualification coming into play because of the nature of the Money in the Bank match. Number two, the Money in the Bank briefcase can be cashed in on anyone. Anyone.
Which is stupid.
For any WWE championship.
Like,
Even possibly a recently acquired Mexican Promotions Championship.
oh
But Chad
no.
Gable's already facing El Vikingo. They already have the match.
But not Grande Americano.
Doing it. Where is that match taking place?
In Mexico.
Exactly.
Are you going to have him lose to El Viking as Chad, and then, like, lights go out, come back out as El Grande Americano with the Money in the Bank? I'd be entertained if they did it. So is that your prediction then?
Either that, or the other option, have him cash in on Raw. Let Chad Gable lose, down in Mexico, and then he comes up to Raw, and Chad Gable, and all of a sudden El Grande Americano cashes in the Money in the Bank Championship. There's a handful of different ways to do it, and if you added Alberto El Patron to the mix,
They did just have a hellacious match with a lot of scrapage.
if you add Alberto El Patron, Alberto Del Rio to the mix, and all of a sudden you add in a story where, I don't know, maybe Alberto Del Rio was the one who started training Chad Gable in the art of lucha libre. We still don't know who trained him. We still don't know who the mysterious man he went to was.
I want it to be Conan.
Oh God, I would love that. But I think I said that, back when it happened. But I'm just saying that, like, this is an interesting alternative to what we're all expecting. It's a way to circumvent expectations. And in all reality, Seth Rollins doesn't need a Money in the Bank briefcase to challenge Jey Uso after the Gunther match.
I think he needs it to justify the challenge. Not necessarily that he needs it. It's to give a reason as to why he would be able to challenge right after the match.
Why wouldn't Seth Rollins, look at the guys on the roster? Seth Rollins, is one of the biggest names on the roster. He's a top guy on the roster. At any point, you could just be like, all right, Seth Rollins is in a number one contenders match. There. Easy done.
Well, what I could see happening, so is Seth your pick, or is El Grande your pick?
Oh, I'm still going with Seth as my pick.
Okay. So, Seth is your picks. Dan?
Like with Brian, I'm going with Seth. I think simply because I feel like he is the most, not the most interesting story, but I think he, with the briefcase, has the great concept of using it, considering he's won it before and he's won it in such a big momentous moment at WrestleMania 31. I don't know. I have a funny feeling like this time around it's going to be another great story with the Money in the Bank briefcase of him hold it, or maybe he doesn't hold it. Maybe he gives it to maybe like Braun Breaker or somebody. I don't know. Maybe that might be the case. I don't know. And maybe gives
all right. Hold on, Evan. You got the Logan Paul pin for an extra. I had said that was my extra. I'll go ahead and pull that away. Okay, I'll go ahead and pull the pin out of that one. I got one for you, Daniel. My bonus star is going to come from Raw the next night. Seth Rollins cashes in on Jey Uso after he defeats Gunther to become the new world champion.
Oh.
2 nights after Money in the Bank.
I could see that.
Okay. I mean,
It gives a better reason for why the Gunther match is on Raw.
Yeah, that does make more sense now that I think about it.
I mean, unless that makes it a triple threat match or something.
I'm going to go with Seth Rollins. I think Seth is going to attempt to cash in during the tag match. I think the tag match will actually be the main event, given the star power that's there. And I think we see a returning Roman Reigns prevent the cash in.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I forgot Roman Reigns is still at home.
Well, and the thing is we haven't seen Roman in a minute since it all happened, really.
Yeah, because didn't he take Roman off TV, didn't he, because of that attack?
Yeah. Having him return.
It would make sense for Roman to return.
Considering my choice.
Well, and I think it would make a far more compelling story to kick off. Roman saves Jay, keeps screwing Seth out of cashing in. Roman versus Jay for SummerSlam. Seth cashes in there.
See,
Seth is the new age Edge. He's about the ultimate opportunity. I think Brian has a solid point with how he's booking that, and I think it makes sense. But I think we could also see Roman return at this pay-per-view, given the lack of star power to it. Because outside of, Cody, Jay, John, and Logan Paul, and Seth, there's not a lot of star power on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Roman returning, or at least the premise of it.
Well, you talk about Roman. You talk about Roman returning. You talk about star power and potential matches and everything. Why? I'm just curious here. Why you would assume that, that would be leading to a Roman versus Jay match instead of a Roman versus Cena match?
So, I think that given the weight of the Cody situation there, they're going to let that breathe for a second before they. I think we could see Roman versus Cena. That could be a good SummerSlam match as well. I just think that there's unfinished business between Jay and Roman. And I think screwing Seth out of being able to cash in on that night to try to, Roman needs a get back here at this point. Punk has gotten his get back on Heyman and Rollins. Roman has not. This would be the perfect time for Roman to get it. This would be the perfect time for him to not only screw Seth out of becoming champion, but make a statement and perhaps start to make his, WrestleMania was his rock bottom, being screwed by the wise man. Maybe this is his road to redemption, the start of it at least. Yeah. And maybe Cody isn't Cena's final opponent. Maybe it is Roman. Who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. And I wanted to go back to why I chose Seth. See, originally I wanted to choose LA Knight. And I wanted to pick him. I do, because I thought, because the whole Seth situation, and obviously I don't think it's going to be Penta. I don't think it's going to be Andrade. I don't think it's going to be...
Given how mediocre they have booked everyone else in this match outside of El Grande and Seth, those are the only two logical conclusions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
LA Knight, if they were going to pull the trigger on it, they would have pulled the trigger on it last year.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say.
It's still red hot with the crowd, but it's not moving the needle as much as it was.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. He should have been Money in the Bank last year. He should have been world champion last year. And because you've had, that big story, you kind of miss that timing, and it's like, you can put the briefcase back on in that, and then maybe relight a fire in his character a little bit. But
just given the stories they're telling and the way they've booked all of them, nobody believes Andrade's winning this match. Nobody believes Penta's winning this match because they booked Penta strong to begin with, but Penta's booking lately has been kind of dog water.
Yeah.
Same with Ray Venus.
No, I think Penta actually could go into a good feud with Finn Balor, moving into Finn taking on Dominic for the
Intercontinental title. I think like that would be a good
Huh.
transitional feud there. I actually also think that while I don't by any stretch of the imagination think he's going to be winning it, I think there is a lot of potential for story development with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in the men's Money in the Bank match.
I
Like
could see I could see
I can
Solo
see
being
Jake.
close to.
In a weird way, though,
Yeah.
I can kind of see Solo Sikoa winning it. I mean, not a high chance of him winning it, but I can definitely see him maybe Triple H going left field and be like, let's put the briefcase on Solo.
See, I think it makes a lot more sense for this to be the opportunity that Jacob turns on Solo.
Yeah. I think I'm with Brian on this one. I think we could see a moment where Solo's up at the top, and like JC Mateo is trying to help him, and then Jacob comes out and takes out JC Mateo and knocks over the ladder and tells Solo to screw himself. I hate you, Solo.
I don't
A
think they're
crash
going to do it
show's
yet.
coming.
I think, if anything, they'll probably wait until maybe like Monday Night War the next night, or maybe the week afterwards. I think. Like, if they are going to do that.
This pay-per-view is. I mean, I have a problem with how quickly there's so many pay-per-views back to back within such a small space.
Yeah.
Well, like this pay-per-view outside of John Cena, Cody, Jay, and Logan Paul and Seth, there's not a lot of star power here. There isn't a lot of reason to buy it.
Hmm.
I'm with Brian here. That I don't think he's going to win it. And honestly, they haven't booked Solo to win anything. And I mean, I was looking at stats earlier. Finn Balor has only won 2 singles matches in the last 2 years. In the last 720 days, or 730 days, whatever it is, he's won 2 matches, 2 singles matches.
How would you feel if like someone like LA Knight or even like Solo Sikoa do win it?
I mean, I'll deal with it. I just think it's the wrong call.
All right, one more.
Where could you go with like Solo or even like LA Knight as the holder?
Well, that's a question for another day. Women's Money in the Bank. Brian, we'll let you go ahead.
All right. I think this is going to be the difference maker, guys. I think out of all the different matches, I say all the different matches, the 4 matches that are on this card, this is the one that legitimately has the most variety in terms of who could go over. I have a couple different ways that I think that this could go. And I definitely think that Stephanie McClure is high up on the list as far as possibilities. At the same time, I thought about her and I said, yes, she could win, but I don't think she needs to win Money in the Bank this soon after her Raw debut in order to keep that momentum and to get herself into the title picture. Naomi is an interesting choice, especially with the gimmick update. But again, it just doesn't feel quite right to me to go with her. I don't see Little Miss Bliss as a real option at this point, given the lack of actual storytelling that they've done with her.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I decided to go with Rhea Ripley because I think that this also plays into the way that I foresaw the booking of the men's Money in the Bank. I think that the men's Money in the Bank is going to be won by Rollins. It's going to be cashed in the next night on Raw. So that does it for the men's briefcase, where I think Rhea is going to be the one that's going to hold on to that briefcase until like there is a worthy challenger. She knows that she is in line for that belt at any given time. I don't think that she feel like there was some urgency that came out of her character with WrestleMania, but I feel like that has subsided. I think she could get a hold of the Money in the Bank briefcase. We could see a long reign and then an eventual cash in against Stephanie McCourt.
Okay.
So I'll go next. Daniel, I'll let you have the honors of going last. So we both kind of had similar thought processes. I don't think Roxanne or Julia are, they're just hitting the roster. But unlike Stephanie, they haven't quite gotten the reactions that she has. She's not, they're not driving the needle as much. Rhea Ripley. So I toyed around with this idea. Mommy in the Bank was really intriguing to me. The problem is I don't think she needs it. Like you said, I don't think the only catalyst here for a true story is she's never beaten Io Sky. So she could, the problem is the same logic could be applied to Rhea. She could just cash it in at immediately because she wants to get that win basically. I don't think Alexa Bliss she's just come back. Yeah, she's won the Money in the Bank, I think twice, the women's Money in the Bank twice before, cashed it in the same night. I don't think the story she's having is going to be there. I think we're going to see a tag match for the women's tag belt with her and Nikki Cross against Liv and Raquel at some point. For me, it's Stephanie McCourt. The reason that I think it's going to be Stephanie is not only does she have the momentum, the way they booked her to lose the NXT Women's title was very protected, dirty finish. The way they booked her versus Io Sky to be a non-finish, and Stephanie looked very strong with how they presented her. I think she's going to hang on to it for a little bit, and then she's going to declare in advance that she wants to face Io Sky at Evolution 2 in July.
Interesting.
And I think she wins, and then she feuds with Rhea Ripley afterwards.
That's an
I think we
interesting
see
idea.
heel Rhea come out of this. Snapping because she wasn't the one to beat Io Sky.
Daniel?
Right, so my pick. So I thought about it. I looked over who's in the match. Obviously, Julia, Roxanne. No. I'm sorry. They, like Evan said, they haven't moved the needle. They've only just debuted as well. I don't think they're ready for it yet. Maybe in a year or two, maybe they'll both be ready. But I think for the time being, no. Alexa Bliss, no. And it's a shame because she's such a good wrestler and she gives quite a lot in terms of her character. But I think, like obviously Evan said, she's probably end up teaming up with Nikki Cross and facing against Liv and Raquel for the women's tag team titles. So obviously that kind of leaves me with down to 3 picks. Obviously Rhea, Stephanie, and Naomi. Now I was thinking about going with Stephanie McCourt because obviously, and how interesting that could be. She just debuted, it gives it a lot of hype, blah 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 blah. But I was like, would you put the briefcase on her straight away? Does she really need it? And in my head, I was like, no, I don't think she needs it. I think it's still too early. I don't think she needs the briefcase. I think she could easily face, Io or even Rhea eventually, on her own merit. I don't think she needs the briefcase in order to have those matches. I think it's definitely a good fast track to get there, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Rhea Ripley, it once again is quite a good, interesting concept. I do like the idea of Mummy in the Bank.
Mommy in the just the words "Mommy in the Bank."
Yeah.
I just like that.
I can
that market
printing money. Haven't seen this
But-
from Triple H. I do expect a royalty.
Yeah, but like Ellen said, she really doesn't need it. I don't think she needs it at all. You know, she's an already established character. She's already established star. You know, she could easily go into any match, even a title match with EO, and she can easily have that match one-on-one. She doesn't need to use it in order to get that match. I think that's going to be happening eventually. So it left me with one and only option, and I think it makes the most sense, and I think it makes logical sense. Well, I think it's Naomi. I think it's Naomi's time, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, why Naomi, not Naomi?" But I feel like she's She's not expected to win. Let's be honest. Like when you're looking at this card, you're not thinking, "Oh, Naomi's going to win."
That would definitely defy expectations and be somebody that you can
But that's
have.
the thing.
I'm just curious. Wait, I'm just curious. Over on What Culture, who did Simon Miller pick to win? Oh, he picked Naomi too. That's a clean sweep, Daniel. That's clean sweep. It's almost like you just found somebody from Britain to rip off.
No, I didn't watch What Culture. I haven't actually watched them since 2018. I think it's 2017 when
You are a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar, sir.
But anyway, like I think Naomi
you're
for
up
me,
in those downs.
I think personally for me, Naomi, I feel like it's kind of like you have to pull the trigger now, otherwise she's never going to get a better chance to get back into the title picture. And I think right now it's like I said, now or never. Do you pull the trigger on her, or do you give it to an established star, or do you give it to an up and coming star like Stephanie Foucault? And I think for Naomi, and with what she's been doing with Jade Cargill and the good heel heat she's getting and the good character she's been given, like I think it's good to reward her and show her that, like, you know, her loyalty and her coming back has paid off. You know, it hasn't just been another like waste of her time again. Like I think this is Naomi's moment, and I think she will win the briefcase, and I think she will probably hold it for a while. Maybe I'll probably say maybe up until like Evolution, or maybe even past that. Maybe somewhere like, you know, Survivor Series, or even Royal Rumble. I can see it. You know, her cashing in, but I think they clearly are trying to build something with Naomi, and I think it's leading to the Money in the Bank briefcase and eventually the women's title. I don't know which one yet, but either one, I think she's going to win it.
You made some valid points. I did actually forget about Naomi. My thought processes on that. I do think that she is someone that could win it and get the belt and hold it for a while until Jade Cargill wins the belt and then cashes in. That said, I want to make sure that we reward ingenuity and creative thought processes like that. So I want to give a gold star. Hear me out, Brian. A gold star to Simon Miller from What Culture.
Oh, Simon Miller. You know what? You know why? You know what? I'm gonna give that one. I'm not just gonna give that an up. I'm gonna give that a golden up.
No. I'm
And I can't think of a better way to end the podcast tonight than that right there. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to duelingguard.com/SOG to get 5% off of all your orders of gaming merchandise, all your deck boxes, your sleeves, your play mats, your dice, all that good stuff. Daniel's going to eat cheesecake. Evan's going to have a laugh. I'm going to say good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Bye.
Good cheesecake.